Welcome to today's video. Buckle up, because we're about to take you on a jaw-dropping ride through Hollywood's darkest detours. Imagine this: actors who once ruled the red carpet, cheered on by millions, now trading tuxedos and designer gowns for prison jumpsuits. That's right. Once the darlings of glitz and glamour, these stars now live under the harsh fluorescent glow of a jail cell. From box office heroes to behind bars nobodies, their shocking downfalls prove one thing: when fame collides with poor choices, reality can write scripts more outrageous than any blockbuster. So sit tight, because we're pulling back the curtain on the rise and ruin of Hollywood's fallen icons. Zach Avery. Remember the name, because Hollywood sure will. Once a struggling actor with big dreams, Avery decided that instead of climbing the ladder, he'd cheat his way to the top. Spoiler alert, it didn't end well. Between 2014 and 2019, he orchestrated a Ponzi scheme so outrageous it could have been ripped straight from a Hollywood script. With charm, smooth talk, and a straight face, he convinced hundreds of investors, including friends and family, that he was buying movie rights for streaming giants like Netflix and HBO. Sounds legit, right? Wrong. Zach didn't have deals with Netflix or HBO. The only thing he had was a wild imagination and a dangerous talent for juggling lies. Like a low-budget version of Ocean's 11, Avery funneled new investors' money to pay off the old ones, creating the illusion of a booming business. But smoke and mirrors don't last forever. By 2021, the whole con came crashing down. The wannabe star was exposed as a fraud, sentenced to 20 years in prison, and ordered to pay back more than $230 million. That's right, $230 million. A blockbuster flop of epic proportions. The lesson? Dream big, absolutely, but don't turn your dreams into nightmares for everyone else. Because no matter how good you think your performance is, nobody looks glamorous in Prison Orange. Now, let's roll into our next story. Ryan Grantham, a young Canadian actor once known for his promising roles on TV and in film, shocked the world with a crime straight out of a psychological thriller. In 2020, the rising star pleaded guilty to the second-degree murder of his mother, Barbara Waite, and was later sentenced to life in prison. The chilling details stunned both fans and the industry alike. On March 31, 2020, Grantham fatally shot his 64-year-old mother in the back of the head while she played the piano in their home. Moments later, he recorded a confession video, calmly documenting the aftermath of the crime, a scene far darker than any script he had ever performed. But the horror didn't end there. The very next day, Grantham packed his car with 3 guns, ammunition, a dozen Molotov cocktails, and camping gear. His plan? To assassinate Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Yet somewhere along the way, shaken by the reality of what he was about to do, Grantham abandoned his deadly mission and instead turned himself into Vancouver police. Psychiatric reports later revealed the young actor had been battling severe depression and self-loathing. Experts suggested that his decision to kill his mother was, in his twisted mind, a way to spare her from witnessing the violence he had planned. Ultimately, the court sentenced him to life in prison, with no possibility of parole for 14 years. The takeaway? No matter how successful life may appear on the surface, the battles within can write a far darker script. Grantham's story is a haunting reminder that turning yourself in will always be a better ending than dragging an entire nation into tragedy. So stay with me until the very end of this video, because trust me, the shocking truths waiting ahead are even more unbelievable. Skylar Julius De Leon once had that unmistakable sparkle in his eye, the kind of youthful glow that made Hollywood dreams feel within reach. In the 1990s, he seemed destined for something bigger, snagging small roles here and there, even appearing on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the ultimate badge of coolness for any 90s kid. For a moment, it looked like the stage was set for stardom. But behind the bright lights, shadows were growing. Despite landing bit parts, Skylar's inner battles began to take center stage. He was unstable, prone to violent outbursts, and many now wonder if undiagnosed mental health struggles were quietly fueling his downfall. By the early 2000s, his rap sheet was longer than his resume. The promising actor was no longer Hollywood's rising star. He was drifting on the margins of society. Then came 2004, the year his story turned into a nightmare. In a botched robbery, Skylar committed one of the most chilling crimes imaginable. He murdered an innocent couple and dumped their bodies into the ocean, 3,500 feet beneath the surface. The trial that followed revealed a man completely unrecognizable from the ambitious dreamer of the 90s. Cold, detached, and quick to blame others, Skylar was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. Today, more than a decade later, he sits on death row, left with nothing but time to reflect on the lives he destroyed and the future he threw away. His story is more than just a tragedy of crime. It's a cautionary tale of wasted potential, of what happens when demons go untreated and dreams turn to dust. Because in life, not every script has a happy ending. But if you ever find yourself standing at a crossroads, remember this: it's never too late to rewrite your story before it's too late. Amy Locane was once Hollywood's rising star, stealing scenes and hearts with her role in John Waters' cult classic Crybaby alongside Johnny Depp. With her career on the upswing, it seemed nothing could derail her future. But life has a way of blindsiding even the brightest talents, especially when reckless choices are made behind the wheel. In 2010, everything changed. Amy was involved in a devastating drunk driving accident in New Jersey that claimed the life of Helena Seaman. The tragedy sent shockwaves through the community. For Amy, it meant an arrest, a conviction for vehicular manslaughter and assault, and the crushing weight of knowing her actions had destroyed lives. After serving her sentence, Amy was released on parole. For 5 long years, she worked tirelessly to rebuild, advocating against drunk driving, striving to make amends, and proving she could be a model citizen. Redemption seemed within reach. But in September 2020, fate twisted cruelly again. Amy was sent back to prison for the same offense. Yes, you heard that right. Back behind bars. From the confines of Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women, Amy has been left to wrestle with haunting questions. How did I end up here again? How many chances does life really give us? Her story is a painful reminder that redemption is fragile, forgiveness is never guaranteed, and one moment of poor judgment can change everything. If Amy's downfall teaches us anything, it's this: the next time you're behind the wheel, think twice before you turn the key. Danny Masterson's story reads like a Hollywood cautionary tale, a reminder of how fast the climb to fame can turn into a devastating fall. Bursting onto the scene as Stephen Hyde in the beloved sitcom That 70s Show, Masterson became a household name almost overnight. With the spotlight firmly on him, it seemed his career had no ceiling, and Hollywood was his for the taking. But as the old saying goes, what goes up must come down. By 2017, storm clouds gathered. Multiple women came forward with serious allegations of sexual assault, thrusting Masterson into the center of a firestorm. The scandal escalated in June 2020 when he was formally arrested and charged with 3 counts of sexual assault. Overnight, his once thriving career collapsed. His talent agency severed ties, Hollywood shut its doors, and the man who once embodied stardom found himself branded as a symbol of disgrace. As of 2024, at age 47, Masterson's fate still hangs in the balance. The courtroom battles rage on, and the world watches with bated breath, waiting for the final verdict. Every headline, every court date, casts a darker shadow over his name, leaving both his personal and professional legacy in limbo. His story has become more than just a legal saga. It's a sobering reminder of how fragile fame truly is. One moment, you're celebrated as a star. The next, your legacy is defined by scandal. And the outcome of Danny Masterson's case will determine not only his future but also how Hollywood remembers him. Harvey Weinstein, once one of Hollywood's most powerful producers, fell harder than anyone could have imagined. His predatory actions not only shattered countless lives but also ignited the global #MeToo movement, forever changing the way the world talks about power and abuse. At the height of his career, Weinstein was behind blockbuster hits and Oscar-winning films, but that empire collapsed the moment his crimes came to light. In New York, he was sentenced to 23 years in prison for sexual abuse and assault. But his legal battles didn't stop there. In December 2022, a Los Angeles jury found him guilty once again, this time for molesting and sexually assaulting a European model and actress, known in court as Jane Doe. The trial revealed the depths of Weinstein's defense strategy, laced with blatant misogyny. His attorneys even tried to humiliate Jennifer Siebel Newsom, an actor, filmmaker, and wife of California Governor Gavin Newsom, by calling her a bimbo. Yet despite these disgraceful tactics, the truth prevailed. The court added another 16 years to his sentence, sealing his fate. Weinstein attempted to portray himself as a frail 70-year-old in poor health, begging for leniency, insisting the accusations were fabricated. But the jury wasn't swayed. For many survivors, that moment in court brought long-awaited relief, a sense that justice, though delayed, had finally arrived. Weinstein's downfall stands as a chilling reminder of how unchecked power and privilege can fuel abuse. But more importantly, it highlights the courage of survivors whose voices not only held him accountable but also sparked a movement that continues to reshape the world. Michael Jace, once known for his role on The Shield, saw his life spiral into tragedy in May 2014. The actor was convicted of second-degree murder for killing his wife, April Jace, inside their Hyde Park home. He admitted to pulling the trigger, 1 shot to her back and 2 more to her legs. In court, Jace stood before the judge, voice heavy with regret, admitting there was no excuse for what he had done. He turned to his family, apologizing for the unbearable pain he caused. The judge responded with a crushing sentence: 40 years to life in prison, 15 years to life for the murder itself, plus an additional 25 years for the firearm enhancement. The darkest details emerged during questioning. Jace revealed that he had initially planned to leave quietly, but instead chose to shoot his wife in a twisted attempt to make her suffer. The most heartbreaking testimony came from the couple's 10-year-old son, who recalled his father's chilling words before the second shot: "If you like running, then run to heaven." His defense team argued the crime wasn't premeditated, painting it as an explosion of uncontrollable emotion. But for the world, the damage was already done. Known for roles in Planet of the Apes, Boogie Nights, and Forrest Gump, Jace's once promising career is now forever stained by this brutal act. His downfall stands as a grim warning of how unchecked rage can destroy not only lives but legacies. Drew Drexel, once hailed as the powerhouse of American Ninja Warrior, went from conquering obstacle courses to dominating headlines in a way no one ever expected. In 2019, he made history with a jaw-dropping $1 million win, cementing his place as one of the show's brightest stars. Fans admired his unmatched strength, speed, and determination, the man who could scale walls and leap through impossible challenges with ease. But just 1 year later, in August 2020, his story took a shocking and devastating turn. The FBI arrested Drexel on charges involving inappropriate conduct with a minor, allegations that reportedly dated back to 2015. The news left fans stunned. How could a man once celebrated as a hero of grit and perseverance now be facing accusations that could end his career and destroy his legacy? Drexel has denied the charges, firmly maintaining his innocence as he fights his legal battle. Still, the future that once promised glory and victory now hangs in uncertainty. Will he rise again and reclaim his name, or will he forever be remembered for this fall from grace? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. What do you think about the downfall of Drew Drexel? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Josh Duggar first stepped into the public eye as the eldest son of the Duggar family, the household made famous by the hit reality series 19 Kids and Counting. To millions of viewers, the show represented wholesome values, homeschooling, devout faith, and a modest, disciplined lifestyle. But the carefully polished image began to crack in 2015, when shocking revelations about Josh's past inappropriate behavior during his teenage years came to light. The family admitted they had known about the incidents and had sought counseling, a decision that ignited fierce public backlash once it was exposed. Josh issued a public apology, but the damage was irreversible. TLC swiftly canceled 19 Kids and Counting, and Josh resigned from his position at the Family Research Council. That same year, his name surfaced again, this time in the infamous leak from a website catering to extramarital affairs. The scandal forced Josh to confront his struggles publicly, and he sought treatment. Yet for many fans, trust was already broken, and the Duggar family's once pristine reputation was left in shambles. But the controversies didn't end there. In 2021, Josh's life unraveled even further when he faced serious federal charges. By 2022, he was convicted and sentenced, now serving time in federal custody under strict conditions. His earliest release will come with heavy supervision. Josh Duggar's story has become a cautionary tale, a rise and fall marked by scandal, disgrace, and unanswered questions about redemption. Once held up as a model of faith and family values, he now stands as a sobering reminder of how quickly an empire built on image can collapse. Shannon Richardson, a fiery redhead once known for her striking looks and a small role as a zombie on The Walking Dead, seemed to be living the dream. She had dabbled in acting, tried her hand at beauty pageants, and was chasing the Hollywood spotlight. But life threw her curveballs, and instead of stepping back, Shannon swung wildly. After a bitter divorce, anger and desperation pushed her into a dangerous spiral. Feeling scorned and seeking revenge, she devised a shocking plan that sounded more like the script of a political thriller than real life, sending letters laced with poison to none other than former U.S. President Barack Obama and former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. When the scheme unraveled, Shannon did what Hollywood villains often do. She pointed the finger at her husband, accusing him of masterminding the plot. But as investigators dug deeper, the truth came to light. Shannon was arrested, and in a courtroom twist straight out of a legal drama, she first claimed her husband forced her into it, only to later change her story. Eventually, she struck a deal with prosecutors. The sentence? A staggering 18 years behind bars and a $350,000 fine, an amount big enough to make a reality TV star wince. Ironically, the scandal brought her more fame than her acting career ever had. Her name splashed across headlines nationwide. And just when it seemed the story couldn't get more sensational, it did. Shannon gave birth to a child while awaiting trial. A bizarre, heartbreaking plot twist in a saga that blurred the line between personal tragedy and public spectacle. One thing is certain, Shannon Richardson's story is no ordinary Hollywood tale. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes, the drama off-screen can be darker and more twisted than anything written for television. Joe's son, born Sun Hung Man, once seemed destined for a life of eccentric fame. Growing up in the United States, he embraced martial arts, wrestling, and even found ways to entertain crowds with his quirky singing and dancing at sporting events. His big break came in 1997 when he stole scenes in Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery as the bizarre assassin, Random Task. His over-the-top antics had fans laughing and quoting lines for years. But behind the laughs, Joe's son's life was heading toward a chilling turn. In 2008, what began as a minor dispute over a damaged car door spiraled into something no one could have predicted. A court-ordered DNA test from that case linked him to a brutal 1990 gang assault in Huntington Beach, California. Overnight, the goofy henchman fans remembered from the big screen was exposed as a man with a violent, hidden past. The revelation shocked Hollywood and horrified his fans. Convictions mounted, and Sun was sentenced to life in prison. But the story didn't stop there. In 2011, headlines blared once again when he murdered his cellmate, Michael Graham, in what investigators described as a savage act of violence. The once comedic actor had now become a true villain in real life. And in 2017, the courts handed down another crushing blow, an additional 27-year sentence. Joe's son's fall from oddball entertainer to convicted killer is a grim reminder that the line between the roles we play and the lives we lead can blur in the darkest and most shocking ways imaginable. Colin Rashad Walker, better known as Colin Walker, once burned brightly in the entertainment world, a rising star who seemed to have it all. Actor, rapper, dancer, his unique style and relentless self-promotion made him a name to watch. Online, fans admired his bold music, his acting roles, and his unapologetically open lifestyle. With appearances in films like Superfly, it looked as though Walker was destined for stardom. But in 2018, his Hollywood dreams spiraled into a nightmare. Allegations of sexual misconduct emerged, exposing a disturbing pattern. Investigators revealed that Walker allegedly exploited his industry status, luring aspiring young women with false promises of career opportunities, only to betray their trust in devastating ways. Between 2013 and 2018, at least 10 women and girls came forward with accusations of assault. Walker insisted he was innocent, but as the number of victims grew and the evidence mounted, his defense unraveled. Arrested in 2018, he endured years of legal battles that ended in October 2022, when he was sentenced to 50 years in prison on multiple sexual assault charges. The verdict was a defining moment, not only for Walker but for the brave survivors who stepped forward to confront him. It also sent a stark reminder to the entertainment industry: unchecked power can destroy lives, and accountability must prevail. For those chasing fame, let this story serve as a warning. If you promise to help someone chase their dreams, make sure it's with honesty, not exploitation. Zara Pythian, once admired as a gifted martial artist and actress who lit up the screen in Marvel's Doctor Strange, built her reputation on discipline, skill, and respect, both in Hollywood and in the martial arts world. But in May 2022, her public image collapsed under the weight of a scandal so shocking it left fans reeling. A UK court sentenced her to 8 years in prison after finding her guilty on 14 counts of sexual activity with a minor, crimes committed between 2005 and 2008. Her husband, Victor Mark, received a 14-year sentence for the same crimes, along with additional charges involving another victim. The courtroom testimony revealed a disturbing pattern of manipulation and abuse. One victim described how, as a vulnerable teenager, she had idolized Pythian, who was then working as a martial arts instructor in Nottinghamshire. That trust, tragically, was exploited. Despite the couple's repeated denials, powerful evidence and brave victim accounts led to their convictions. For fans who had cheered Zara's rise to stardom, the revelations were devastating. How could someone who embodied strength, precision, and control in martial arts fall so far? The case has since sparked broader conversations about safeguarding, accountability, and the responsibility carried by those in positions of trust. Once celebrated as a symbol of discipline and inspiration, Zara Pythian's legacy now serves as a stark warning. Admiration comes with responsibility, and when that trust is broken, the consequences are profound. In the end, it is the courage of the victims, their willingness to step forward and demand justice, that ensures their voices are heard and remembered. Toby Willis, once celebrated as the devoted patriarch of the beloved Willis family, rose to national fame when TLC's The Willis Family turned their musical household into a reality TV sensation. Audiences were charmed by their talent, their unity, and Toby's image as a strong, loving father. His family's performance on America's Got Talent in 2014 only cemented the picture of a man leading his children with pride and purpose. But in 2016, that carefully crafted image crumbled in the most shocking way. Behind the curtain of wholesome entertainment, investigators uncovered a horrifying truth. Toby Willis had been secretly abusing a young girl for years. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's probe revealed a pattern of abuse that shattered not only his family but also the public's faith in the man they thought they knew. By 2017, Willis stood in court and pled guilty to 4 counts of child rape. The judge handed down a staggering 40-year prison sentence, combining multiple terms to be served concurrently. His downfall became even more humiliating when he was captured in Greenville, Kentucky, while hitchhiking in a desperate attempt to flee justice. The fall of Toby Willis stands as a devastating reminder that even the brightest, most picture-perfect families can conceal nightmarish secrets. What was once sold as heartwarming reality TV has forever been tainted by betrayal, abuse, and heartbreak, leaving the victims, the family, and millions of once loyal fans to grapple with the wreckage of a man's hidden sins. Ian Watkins, once the electrifying frontman of the emo band Lost Prophets, was a symbol of rebellion, raw energy, and unfiltered emotion. With his commanding stage presence and his voice that spoke to outsiders everywhere, he built a loyal following and seemed destined to remain a rock icon. But in late 2012, everything shattered. Watkins was arrested on a series of shocking and unthinkable charges involving minors, crimes so horrific that both fans and bandmates who had stood by him for years were left stunned and betrayed. The carefully crafted public image of a tortured artist crumbled, revealing a darkness few could have imagined. In court, Watkins pled guilty to multiple charges, including possession of illegal materials and other unspeakable offenses. To spare the jury from the most disturbing evidence, he admitted his guilt outright. In 2013, the judge handed down a staggering sentence, 29 years behind bars, plus 6 additional years of extended supervision. Since then, Watkins's life has been a tragic shadow of the stardom he once flaunted. His health has sharply declined, leaving him almost unrecognizable. Though a handful of former fans and bandmates have visited him, his reputation has been permanently destroyed. The man once idolized as a voice of rebellion is now remembered as a chilling cautionary tale, a reminder that fame can sometimes conceal the darkest and most unforgivable of secrets. Bill Cosby, once celebrated as America's Dad on The Cosby Show, has endured one of the most shocking downfalls in entertainment history. The man who once symbolized family-friendly television found himself standing in a Pennsylvania courtroom, facing the harsh reality of justice. At the Montgomery County Courthouse in Norristown, Judge Stephen O'Neill delivered the sentence with unmistakable firmness. It was time for accountability. At 81 years old, Cosby had been convicted of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand at his suburban estate back in 2004. The verdict marked a chilling turning point. Cosby became the first major celebrity of the #MeToo era to be sentenced to prison. His storied career, once crowned with awards and respect, now lay in ruins, forever scarred by the weight of his crimes. Immediately taken into custody, Cosby was led away in handcuffs after his request for bail was denied. The judge made it clear, releasing him posed a danger to the community. While the courtroom braced for a dramatic reaction, Cosby's response was oddly muted. No outburst, no visible emotion. Yet reports later revealed that behind closed doors, he was laughing, smiling, and chatting with his defense team, as if the moment carried no gravity at all. Choosing silence instead of a final statement, Cosby let the gavel fall without a word. But the echo of his crimes speaks louder than anything he could have said, a stark reminder that fame and fortune cannot shield anyone from justice. No matter how powerful the star, accountability never takes a holiday. Tim Norman, once the charismatic face of the hit reality show Welcome to Sweetie Pies, captivated audiences with his family's soul food empire and warm on-screen charm. But behind the smiles and success, Norman was hiding a dark and deadly secret that would shatter everything his family had built. Instead of protecting his loved ones, he was secretly plotting the murder of his own nephew, 21-year-old Andre Montgomery, an aspiring rapper and fellow cast member. Blinded by greed, Norman secured a $450,000 life insurance policy on Andre and orchestrated a sinister plan. He hired accomplices, even using a stripper to lure Andre to a desolate street in St. Louis, where a gunman ended the young man's life in cold blood. All for money. But Norman's scheme quickly unraveled. The FBI uncovered his trail, and by 2021 he stood trial for conspiracy to commit murder for hire and fraud. The shocking truth left fans stunned and forced Norman to face the full weight of justice. Tim Norman's downfall is a chilling reminder. Behind the glitz and glamour of reality TV, some will go to unthinkable lengths, even murder, to satisfy their greed. Thanks for watching Exposed Hollywood. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think is the coldest of them all? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.